Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of CookieCast. Today on CookieCast, it's the Darkest Timeline podcast. So it's just me, and I'll be talking about stuff from the last week. Well, the last week when it was recorded. And movies, games, TV, anything that sort of really takes my fancy for the point in time it was recorded. So that, could be interesting. Who knows? Let's find out. If you were checking us out on YouTube, you could click the subscribe button. It helps the channel out. It's a big favour to us, and we do appreciate it. So here we go. This is CookieCast, the Darkest Timeline podcast. Oh my word! I was fully like, don't make the groaning noise when you sit down. Just try and sit down normally. Sit down, fine, sit down. And then I started coughing. It's not the virus. Hi. How you doing? You well? Good. I'm glad. How's your day been? Good. Sounds like a good day. I am going to drink a cup of coffee. It is... I was going to say it's earlier than normal. And it is, only because it's the new normal, and the new normal is late. See what I did there? Oh yes, a lovely cup of coffee. I've got a weird list this week. I was a bit undecided last week. We're not having pet love, pet hate, and I kind of had it wasn't a pet love. It was just like a good news story. When the news has like a good news story, it was kind of like one of those, but I was a bit like, it's just banging on about the same stuff. And weirdly, couldn't come up with like a pet hate, which is unusual for me. So it's still not on the roster, on the cards. So I've got just a few bits, which you know how that goes. It means it's going to be like an hour and a half podcast. Because when I've only got a few bits, I like to get into it. When I've got loads of stuff, I feel like I have to fly through it. I've written something down. The way podcasts go, you'll be walking through your life and something will happen and you'll be like, could put that on the list. That's a good subject, something good to talk about. That's certainly the way I do it. I'm gonna bang that on the list, really get into it. But it could be like if I do the podcast, record the podcast on a Monday, it could happen on the Tuesday. And as is often the case, you probably won't be feeling the same way 6 days later. But I put something on the list, so it should in some way be discussed. What I wrote down was being super tired. So it's probably like a week ago. I'd hit that sort of, when your days become very much a get up, do thing, work, then do, for me, like parent stuff all the way through to like 7 o'clock, and then it's like, right, gotta get straight on with like other stuff. So it's like workout, podcast, other bits and bobs. And then by the time you get to the end of the day, you've got a small window of time to do something that you actually want to do. And, I mean, you know, not a lot of energy to do it with. I think that's why for me, like, computer games is a big-ish thing, because it involves sitting on the sofa, minimal, whatever, movement. And that sort of like fits into that lifestyle. I've recently had an adjustment. We'll come to that in a minute. So, just hit that point and it's like, I'm tired. You know, when you start the day tired even though you went to bed early. That's a favourite of mine. Wake up tired. And then the day's like a bit of a slog, like a bit of wading through treacle kind of job. And then you get to the evening and you just, every 2 minutes you're yawning. You know, those yawns that you can't yawn enough. You can't get the big enough yawn. Yeah, so super tired. So then it's like, well, why? Why am I so tired? And, you know, we've gone through this seasonal shift in the last couple of weeks. I mean, a couple of weeks ago it was still 24, 25 degrees. And now, more often than not, it's a jumper kind of. If you're in the house, not moving around a lot, you probably need a jumper. He says mopping sweat from his brow, but that's what goes with the incredibly active lifestyle that I live. So it was like, right, okay, is it a seasonal change? Is that what's caused it? The seasonal change, you know, it's a little bit darker, a little bit earlier than you maybe expect it to be, and you know, if you randomly have to get up earlier than you normally would, it might still be dark, and you just start to feel it. I really like autumn as a season. Possibly my favourite season, I would say. I am a man that loves a hoodie. I am a man that loves an American football jersey. And I am a man that loves a pair of sunglasses. So if you can combine those, I am in my element. So you know when like as the year goes on, the sun gets lower, so you still I wore sunglasses today. Several, you know, at least 2 or 3 times today I wore sunglasses. And I've also worn 2 jumpers today. Not at the same time. It's not that bad yet. So is it the seasonal change? Or is it that 5 days a week I've been getting up 45 minutes, half an hour earlier than I have been, and I've been going out and running, and I think right now we know the rules when I say the word running. Imagine walking speed ever so slightly quicker, but it is something. But it's amazing how I'm trying to work out why I'm so tired and didn't take any of that into consideration, into account, and then was like, oh yeah, I'm getting up earlier and I'm exerting myself more, so maybe that's it. And there seems to have been a bit of an adjustment to it. Not in the running sense. That is nothing short of awful. Every single minute of it. And you know the worst thing, I've got to a point now where I'm like, right, I'm going to do half the run in one go. So I set off and I do half the run in one go. And then I have a short break. It's got to the point now where that part of me is going, this break is too long. And I'm like, yeah, but we have our stop point and we have our go point. That's set in stone. It's kind of part of the bargain, part of the deal. Like, yeah, but you do know your heart rate has gone back to rest now. Your breathing's gone back to normal, and now we're just doing a walk. Like, yeah, I know, but this is kind of, this is the deal. Don't mess with the deal. And then there's like other bits where it's like, oh, this is one of the bits that I'm allowed to stop. And then there's that sort of, yeah, but you don't probably need to stop here, or at least not at this point. You could stop a bit further, or you could start a bit sooner. So it's like that. Whereas a couple of weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, it was just, yeah, it was pure hell. I think back and I wonder about what it was like when I used to run 4 miles a day. There was a point in time where I used to walk 4 miles in the morning and then run 4 miles in the evening. I think I used to do my 10,000 steps by like lunchtime. And I tried to think back to that time and tried to think, when I was running 4 miles, was I hating every step of it? I think I did. At least that's what I'm telling myself. So anyway, shortest version is, I've been super tired, but it has subsided somewhat, which can only mean I'm going to finish this, do my other bits and bobs, and be asleep within an hour. I went into town. What did I go into town? Saturday. Probably not the best idea that I've ever had. But I went to see Chris. Big shout out to Chris. In Expressions. They were having an anniversary weekend, but I had half a box of NFL stickers, not the virus, to take to him. So I took those in. Say hi. Had a couple of other jobs that needed to be done whilst I was in town. So it involved going to various different corners of town, and ultimately it was basically like a bit of a wander around town, which I haven't done in a really long time. Like, if I go into town, I'm more often than not sort of winging my way to Expressions, often via a coffee shop. Although I checked the bank this morning and saw how much I paid for coffee the other day. That's probably gonna have to stop, I think. I'm starting to question the things like that. Spending money on stuff like that has suddenly become it was kind of frivolous previously, and now I'm actually looking at how much it costs and I'm like, oh, that's a lot of money. Yeah, anyway, walking around town, completely lost train of thought there. Walking around town, and I was like, why are there so many shops that are shut? Why are there so many shops that are boarded up? Why are there so many shops that have closed down? Just every single street. It's just so many places don't exist anymore. It's insane. And then, I saw like new shops. That's not even true. That's not true. I saw a new shop, and it's not like a new shop. It was, they've opened another Sports Direct in town, because that's what we need. They might as well have opened another coffee shop. So I'm wandering around town, and it's like, that shop's closed. I didn't realise they'd closed down. Oh, that one's closed. Geez, that one's boarded up. And it was just this whole. This is it. This is gonna be it. Because, and I'll give you an example, because I am the worst person for this. I'll give you an example. There's a birthday coming in this house, and because of that, unlike various points in time, I have been super organised on this one. Like, we're talking months in advance organised. But that also, it's a double-edged sword. So what it leads to is, actually, should get this, should get that, should get the other. This resulted in a trip into a toy shop. There's a toy shop in town, which sometimes surprises me, but I think it's one that has, I would say, the cheaper end of the scale for buying like proper toys. It's one of those, the Entertainer, is it? So I presume they exist by, doing toys at less than a high street price, but just a little bit. So anyway, that's that. So I go in and I'm looking for a specific item. So I walk down one side of the shop, looking around. I find the item I'm looking for. I'm like, they've got a variety of different ones. Some of them are more expensive than others. Some of them have got 20% off. Cool, this is exactly the sort of thing that we're looking for. Oh, this one looks good. Oh, that one doesn't look as good. This one looks good. I think out of all of these, I like this one the best. How much is it? Oh, well, it's not one of the ones that's got the 20% off. So it's full price. It's £13. Okay. So the item's there, it's in my hand. They want £13. I'm like, okay, cool. £13. What's the first thing I did whilst I was stood there? I imagine pretty much everybody right now knows the answer. The answer is, I took out my phone, I went onto Amazon, I searched for the exact item on Amazon, the name of the product, and then the name of the franchise, and then the name of the specific product. And Amazon had it for less than £10. So what did I do? Put the item back on the shelf and went, cool, I'll order it from Amazon. And that is the reason that all those shops are closed. I'm sure that the virus has had X amount to do with it. I'm not like, Amazon has killed every single shop in town. but it'll have killed most of them. You know, the online shopping aspect will have killed the majority of those shops. I keep seeing these posts. It's like, if you spend £5 a week in an independent store, I can't even tell you what the rest of that is. It's all about keeping these independent businesses open, and I fully agree and support the principle of that. Oh, hang on. Oh my word, I've got all the noises today. Sneezing with a residue of the hay fever season. I fully support, I fully back, I fully agree with that in principle. In practice, if somebody says to you, you can buy this item, it's cost you £5. You can buy the exact same item for £3.50. Why would you buy the item that's going to cost you £5? And you know, even saying it like that, I think it's awful. You know, don't get me wrong. I think it's a terrible thing. But that's you know, that's why all those shops are shut. And a side note to this story. Me, Leon and the baby were walking around town. So we're going into all these shops, we're going past all these places. I'm just going, I can't look at all these places that are shut, look at all these places that are closed. I can't believe the number of places that are closed. It's terrible. She says, oh, there was an article in the press that talked about how we've got this place called Spark. Anybody that doesn't know, it's a place that's a load of shipping containers, and each shipping container it's all outdoor. It's like you can have a little stall, like as if you had a market stall, put it in a little shipping container, and then people come in and they can buy stuff there. There's a lot of eateries, there's a lot of like pub aspects to it, there's a lot of like crafty, fashiony places. Wildly popular. I know a lot of people like it, appreciate it. I've been there for various different things. World Cup, the Zomblog movie wrap party was there, and it was also a Halloween thing. I think it's a cool place. There's been a lot of criticism of it, and this was what this was. This article in the press was criticising Spark. Like I say, it's had a lot of criticism over the years. And again, like I say, this article was criticising and saying, why do we need this place? Why do we need it in our city when there are so many empty shops? And I was saying at the time, I was like, what the idea behind Spark was you got these containers, and if you were successful, you were then supposedly going to be given one of these empty shops to open a shop in with reduced rates from the council. But I imagine the reason that that's not happened is largely because it's not the world for little business, it's the world for big business, and the little guy will just get crushed. So rather than spending X amount on water, electricity, rates, council tax and everything else, why not just stay in your little shipping container and make your money there? It's another one of those sad things. It's another sad aspect to the way the world is, I would say. So there we go. The sad city centre, as it is. Yesterday, I had the opportunity to do like it was kind of like a what I want afternoon. Leanne and the baby were going out for ice cream for the afternoon, and having said about the weather change, might not be the right time for ice cream, but that was the situation, and good on them for doing it. So, as a man, and any man listening to this right now, you know the wealth of possibility. Your significant other goes out, your children are going out, house to yourself. You know, free reign. And I was faced with a decision, and that decision was, do I A, sit and watch TV, sit and watch a movie, play computer games, and just generally have that time, or do I take that time and that opportunity to be productive? And I'm not saying, you know, sitting and watching TV when there's nobody in the house, or watching a movie when there's no one around, or playing computer games on a Sunday afternoon. I'm not saying that that's not productive in a certain way. But I had this list of jobs. These are jobs that it's like, when I get a spare minute, I'm going to do that. When I get a spare minute, I'll look at that. Oh, if I get 5 minutes, now I will admit, some of the jobs on this list were jobs that I've had for a little while, fully intended to do, but was actually scared to do them. I don't know if you have that thing where you're like, I've got that job to do, but I'm scared to get it wrong. I had 2 of those jobs. So I made the decision, and I was like, right, I'm going to do the jobs. So I started one of the jobs before everybody went out. Got set up, got the table out, got all the bits and bobs that I needed, got set up, got cracking. Did the first job, got it done, got everything done, sweet as a nut. I was like, right, keep the momentum going, because you know, as you know, any moment the momentum can drop and you can just end up sat in front of the TV. Kept that momentum going, straight onto the next job, make tea. Got the slow cooker rocking. Got a recipe for a chili, a slow cooker chili. Got that bad boy rocking. Multitask, listen to a podcast at the same time, drinking a lovely cold coffee. Amazing. Multitasking up the wazoo. Got the tea in, job done, lid on, turned it on, put it on high, walked away. Straight back onto the next job. Got that one done. Seemed to get that done fairly quickly, I think. Then I was like, right, got 2 choices. One is sit down and play computer games. 2 is go and work out early, get it out of the way, and then you sort of got that freer evening. And I was like, yeah, but I do want to, you know, not that I wasn't enjoying it, but I was like, I do want to enjoy some of this time that I've got. I don't want to use the word freedom. let's just say time. I do want to enjoy some of the time. So how's this? I was on the principle at this point, I thought I had about an hour and a half. So I was like, here's what I'm going to do. 45 minutes of computer games. Then go and work out. Then go and shower. And then you can tick like every single box ticked. That's not strictly true. One of the things that I'd really wanted to do, and it was a bit like if I got the chance I would do it. I've been really fancying a cigar recently. I had some very generous friends and people who have very generously given me some amazing cigars over the last few months, and I haven't, like, every single time I'm like, I'm going to smoke a cigar today, it absolutely binned it down. Or I might smoke a cigar at that point in time, and then, you know, you're just not available. So it was an opportunity, because I was like, oh, I could potentially go back down and sit and smoke a cigar and get showered, so I wasn't stinking of cigar when the baby came back. That job did not get done. That is still on my to-do list. But I managed to get everything, like the couple of jobs that I've had for like a month, got those done. Tea needed to be made, got that done. And I got a workout done early. So I was super happy about it. I was proper like, I've been really productive, and I felt good about it. I felt really good about it. And I could, you know, I'm sure I wouldn't have felt awful if I'd have sat and played computer games all afternoon or watched a movie or something. I'm sure I wouldn't have been like, oh, woe is me. I'd have probably still had a good time. But it was very much the being hugely productive, and I think getting those jobs that are, you know, kind of weighing on your mind, but maybe not at the same time. Kind of hard to explain. So yeah, super productive. Was well happy. I have watched 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 movies, and I am part way through another movie. So I made a decision recently to probably stop reviewing films that I've seen before, and maybe just review films that I've not seen before. So having said that, I'm now going to talk to you about 6 films I've seen before. Not true. One of them was a new film. I said last time that I was watching History of Violence. Finished History of Violence. It might have even been later that day. Certainly the next day. It's a good film. I like it. When I saw it originally, I felt like it had like a twist. I felt like it was very, oh my god, I didn't expect that. And I enjoyed it. It was fun. It was a good film. So at the time I'd first seen it, I watched it a few times, and then I've never seen it since. So the opportunity to watch it recently came up, and I watched it. As I mentioned last week, I'm mentioning it again this week. I even said last week that I wasn't going to talk about it. But it was good. I enjoyed it. I was glad that I'd watched it. I watched another film that I haven't seen in years. And again, it was a film that I'd previously watched and previously enjoyed multiple times. Haven't seen it for years. The French film, yes, that's right, French film, Taxi. Luc Besson's Taxi. Great film, very fun, very entertaining. I think watching it now, my favourite thing about that film is just the complete incompetence of the police in it. Absolutely the best thing watching it this time round. Yeah, just an enjoyable film. I watched the film as part of a franchise, a very long franchise. Again, I've seen it before, I've seen it a few times. But watching it again, watching it more recently, I was like, So I watched Terminator Salvation, which I often feel is a bit of a forgotten Terminator movie. I think, gun to my head now, if you asked me to name all of the Terminator films, could I do it? Obviously you've got Terminator, T2 Judgment Day, Terminator 3, did Salvation come after 3? Possibly. Then there was the time travel one, which obviously I know how that sounds. What's that one called? Terminator Genesis. Is it? That rings a bell. Yeah, that I'm going with that. And then the most recent Terminator Dark Fate, which I feel I probably need to watch again because it was okay. But I watched Terminator Salvation, and something that I realised watching it this time, again, film I've seen it a few times, haven't seen it for years, watched it this time. It's like, is it me and my love of a bad movie, or was that film not all that bad? I didn't mind it. But this is a man who loves a bad movie, so was it a bad film? I don't remember the reviews of it. Not that reviews mean anything. I don't remember how it was reviewed. Was it reviewed badly? I don't know. I watched it, I enjoyed it. I do feel that I feel like I'm maybe, I don't know, I feel like I might have wanted them to expand on that story maybe. I wasn't overly sure how well Christian Bale suited the John Connor character. But it was, I thought it was alright, I thought it was good. I watched an absolutely amazing film. Again, seen it loads of times. But haven't seen it for years. I haven't seen it for a while. I had the opportunity to watch it with it being on Prime, and man, what a movie. I watched Almost Famous. Another one that I would say probably fits into the perfect movie category. Jesus Christ, I can't talk. And as we know, the perfect movie doesn't have to be the best film ever made, and it doesn't have to be your favourite film. A perfect movie is just has to be a film that you like. There is nothing I would change about that film. That film is awesome. It's just a great movie. I remember seeing a video of Dave Grohl doing a cover of Tiny Dancer, and he talks about Almost Famous. A few people in it that I'd like completely forgotten were in it. That Jay Baruchel, is it? Guy that does the voice of Hiccup in How to Train Your Dragon, because you know that's the thing he's most known for. He is like a child in that film. Oh, what's his name? The guy with the triple barrel name that I can never remember. It's also got the guy that played Dr. Manhattan. I remember at the time it was like, hey, that guy was in Almost Famous, and then he was in Watchmen and Dr. Manhattan, and it was very like, oh right, what is the connection, you know, that sort of thing. I can't think of a single thing he's been in. So I looked him up. I was like, what else did he ever do? He was in Justice League as Barry Allen's dad, which I thought was like, yeah, good point. I can't think of that guy's name, which is incredibly disrespectful, as he is no longer with us. Jason Lee, obviously, and Katie Hudson. A few others. The girl that played Anna something. She was Rogue in X-Men. She was in True Blood. Begins with a P. Yeah, her. Just a great film. I watched a new film, new to me. It's been, not been out that long, I don't think, and it was a Netflix original. As we know, I am not a man that often enjoys a Netflix original. This, on the other hand, I did enjoy. I watched Project Power. I mean, let's face it, any movie that's got some kind of superhero based thing, I'm all over it like a rash. So that was that, you know. From the trailer it was people take a pill and it gives them superpowers for 5 minutes. Sounds right on my street. Jamie Foxx, don't mind Jamie Foxx. Joseph Gordon-Levitt was in it, and I've got a lot of time for that man. So I was like, yeah, I'm all over this. Little apprehensive putting it on. Netflix original movies I find to be incredibly hit and miss, and more miss than hit. This was not. This was actually really good. Very enjoyable, very entertaining. A little slow. You know, that sort of, when it's like, it's a little bit slow, but things are happening. Got a bit like that about 3/4 of the way through, but other than that, it was very enjoyable. I enjoyed it. I've been working through some Marvel films. Like I say, this was not going to be, I've watched a load of new movies. I think I've been doing alright for new films. I've been trying to push the envelope on new films recently. So, you know, give me a break. I'm going through some Marvel films. When I was on paternity leave, I decided to do all the Marvel movies. And I think I pretty much did. I think I did them. I had an issue with Iron Man 2. My copy of Iron Man 2, the disc is warped. Not really got any idea what's happened there. So I struggled to watch all of Iron Man 2 at the time, but managed to get through. I think what had sparked it was I'd watched Iron Man 3 in the gym, from what I remember. I think I did a podcast about it. And as far as I can tell, I watched the majority, if not all, of the Marvel films. So I didn't want to do them all again, but I was in the mood for some Marvel. So I have this thing. Once you hit a certain point in the Marvel films, I start to forget which is which and what is what, which is kind of expected with such a huge franchise. And it's around about Age of Ultron stroke Civil War stroke Winter Soldier. Those films tend to blur a bit for me. So I watched Age of Ultron, Civil War. I wasn't in the mood for Winter Soldier, although I'm pretty sure that's rated as the best Marvel film. So I watched Age of Ultron. I'm not going to talk about that. I watched Civil War, which is the one I wrote down. I'm not overly going to talk about it. I was a huge fan of the graphic novel, and I was kind of disappointed with the movie because I was very much, at the time that they announced they were making it, I was like, it's way too soon. There's loads of characters they need to bring into it. And I think in hindsight, working with what they had at the time, I think they did very well. Just to do Civil War with, in a lot of ways, a handful of characters. So that was kind of that. Did sort of realise that Marvel movies have kind of become a bit of a happy place kind of thing for me. I used to watch Infinity War. It might have been, at one point it might have been like once a week. I've seen that film a lot. It was ruined for me by the release of Endgame, because although I think Endgame is better now than I used to, I really didn't like that film. Me and time travel just do not get on. But yeah, watching like the Marvel stuff, it's kind of like a comfort, which I suppose would make sense about why I've started watching them now. I feel like I need that comfort, that sort of the warmth of comfort. Maybe it's changing the seasons, who knows. So that's movies. Not the most exciting week for movies, because I only watched one new one. But I mean, Taxi must be, gonna go out on a limb and say 15 years old, and I bet you it's actually older than that. In fact, I don't normally do it. That's not true. I always do it. But sod off IMDb. Sod off again. In fact, I don't even know what the Vampires versus the Bronx. Who knows what that's going to be? Taxi. Right. So I estimated 15 years. Yeah, I was way out. Try 22 years old. What the hell? So I knew there was a second one because I own Taxi 1 and 2. And I was pretty sure there was a third one, because I think that was the point in time where I was saying, I think I'm done with these now. There's a list in here for Taxi 5, released in 2018. Wow. And by the looks of the picture, they're still using the same car. Oh dear. Oh, I'm not sure how I feel about that. Probably watch a trailer after I've done this, like. Hey, moving on. A couple of games for you this week. Crisis Remastered is still being played. I had a little break from it because, how do I say this? I wasn't loving it, is how I say that. It was just, it was old and it's been remastered, but the remaster is very poor. So I wasn't enjoying it for those two aspects. And that was that. That was where we were at. I paid good money for it, so I was quite put out. And I spoke to Sam, and I said to Sam, what makes Crisis a good game? I think at the time I was looking for a reason not to fire it into the sun. Sam, what makes Crisis a good game? And he was like, for its time, it was really ambitious and it was really open-ended. And I was like, yeah, but Sam, for a shooter where the shooting is the worst part of the game. And I was talking about like what it looks like and what it plays like on the PS4. Sam actually bought it on the PC and then got it refunded because he said it was terrible. Like the remaster was awful. I might as well play the original. And I just kind of left it. But I went back to it and I realised a couple of things. One, this is going to sound a little strange, but I was playing it wrong. I was playing a game the way that I would play a game. And instead, I should have been playing the game the way that the game wanted you to play it back in 2008. So when you're aiming, you should be using the sights, not just firing from the hip. I know that sounds obvious, but in your modern first-person shooters, you can just kind of shoot however you want, and it'll get the job done. Crisis isn't that forgiving, so you need to be more precise, and it is very much a precision game. Also, what Sam had said to me sort of resonated, it stayed with me, and I've started to agree with him. For its time, it's hugely ambitious, and it's also quite open-ended. The way you have this for a lot of the points in the game, you've got these vast open areas and you can kind of attack the challenges from anywhere or any way you want. And whereas you've only got like cloak or armour as your options for the suit, there is a lot that can be done with what you have at your disposal. So I'm glad that I've gone back to it. Now, I haven't finished it. I feel I am nearing the end, but I haven't finished it. So it could flip, it could change on me, and it could be garbage by the end. We shall see. But right now, I am still playing Crisis Remastered. The other game I'm playing, I was on the PlayStation, and there was this thing, it was like a section called Big in Japan. They've just put a load of like popular Japanese games in this section. I was like, I'll have a little look, see if they've got anything that piques my interest. And I saw a game which I've heard mentioned several times. Again, it's a fairly substantial franchise. I've heard it talked about, mentioned a lot, and again, Sam talks about it a lot. The game is Earth Defense Force, or EDF. The version in question is EDF 4.1. Did a little bit of digging around, found that EDF 4.1 is a remake of an earlier game. People speak very highly of it, but it's very much you have to know what it is that you're buying and playing. And it's designed to be like So Bad It's Good, like the B-movie of games. The voice acting and the voice, like what they're saying is terrible. It's giant bugs. You're wave after wave of giant bugs, and you have to fight them. You have to kill them. And some of them are quite comical in a lot of ways. You know, giant ants, giant spiders, things like that. I believe there's at least 89 single player levels, but I've also read that there is 100 single player levels. Who knows? We'll find out. You've got 4 different classes to choose from. One is your standard quote unquote soldier. You know, you've got a machine gun and you can have a rocket launcher if you want. Then you've got one that's like a load of female characters that have got like a jetpack and you can zoom around in the sky. You've got a guy that uses like artillery strikes and can call in vehicles, tanks. And then you've got like the heavy armour, the heavy weapons, big guy, big guns, that sort of stuff. And it's just big stupid fun basically. Shoot stuff, collect weapons, change your weapons, get better weapons, shoot alien insects, spaceships, stuff like that. Big dumb fun, and that's what it is. And it's big and it's dumb and it's fun. So there you go. EDF 4.1. The other thing being is that when I looked on the store, I had to double check several times because I thought it was a DLC that they'd put on sale, because it was £3.19, and that turned out to be for the whole game. Value for money? Yes it is. And that's, you know, that's what you want these days. When they want you to buy Avengers for £50, and the majority of the stuff I hear about it is that the single player campaign is really short. Paying £3.19 for a full game is what's known in the business as a bargain. So there you go. Games. That is it from me. That is the end of my list. I hope you enjoyed this ride through what has basically been the last week of my life. I'm going to let you go back to your life, enjoying it, and well, as we know, I will see you next time. Take care, love you, bye. So what do you think to that? Another one done. Oof. Get into that time of year now, isn't it? Oh man. Nearly another year gone. Well, kind of, I suppose. YouTube watchers, if you could subscribe, if you're just checking us out casually, a little subscribe won't hurt. It's not too intrusive and it does help the channel out. Everybody jump over to cookiecast.com, check us out over there. You can send us some social media love or drop us an email. How about that? So there we go, that's it for this one. Till next time, I'm going to say bye and I'll see you then. Bye.